were doing. Well, in talking with him, I found that he was born in Germany. His folks immigrated to Chicago. He grew up in Chicago, was I don't know if he had dual citizenship. I doubt it, but he had German citizenship. He was born there. Well, his folks thought that things were looking bad. This is before the war. Things were looking bad, and they wanted to go back to see their folks, their old family once again, and before the war broke out. But and they took Hans with them. But unfortunately, the war started while they were there. Well, Hans was a German citizen. He was drafted into the German army. And he said he just couldn't wait to see an American. He put his hands up. Well, one day, the busload comes, but Hans is not on it. And I got from one of the POWs that Hans had escaped. So, about 5 years later, there was an article in the one of the Boston papers that I read it. I think it was the Boston Post, that said that there were 5 POWs, German POWs, who had been in New England and had escaped and were still at large. And there was a picture of Hans. So I often wondered what happened.
What was his last name?
I don't remember what his last name was.
Hans. I'm going to try and find that newspaper. Not right now, but on my own time, I'll try and find it.
Yeah.
Using the internet, you know. So, what did you do after the war? You don't have to be as detailed about this, but...
What?
What did you do after the war?
What did I do after the war?
Yeah.
Well, November 2nd, I took a little time off, several weeks, and then worked, decided that I wanted to go to college. Something that I often wanted was to be a CPA. But the circumstances before the war was such that there was no way my family could afford to send me to college, or could I go to college. Fortunately, the GI Bill came along. Well, I went to work in some restaurants because I had worked part-time before the war. And there was an organization called Waldorf Cafeterias that had probably 25 stores in the Boston area. And they would send me, there was always somebody who didn't show up for work. And I went there, and then it became Christmas time, and they needed extra help in the post office, and so I worked for a couple of months in the post office. And I had previously taken the an exam to get into Boston University, and they told me that I was accepted, but that they wouldn't be able to start me until May. This was a summer session they had, and so I worked as much as I could while I was going to college, and Saturdays, Sundays, Mondays, holidays, whenever, just to have enough money to get by. I did have a small pension from the Army for this wound, and I believe it or not, I played semi-pro football. I got $25 a game. I played in 1946, 47, 48, and 49. While I was working, while I was going to BU and taking courses on Saturdays and on evenings, don't ask me, Preston, how I did it. I have no idea.
You were a busy guy.
Huh?
You were a busy guy.
And not only that, but I started in May of 46 and finished my requirements in December of 1948, 2 years and 7 months, 8 months, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Huh. What was the best part about being home after the Army?
My wife. Yeah.
How did you meet her?
Huh?
Tell me about how you met your wife.
Oh. Rather complicated, but I met her through a second cousin of hers who was a friend of mine. I lived in Medford, Massachusetts, and she lived in Roxbury, which is part of Boston. And if it hadn't been for the Schmitz family, I never would have met her. Yeah. We got married when we were 19. And
when was your wedding? What day was it?
And we were married, and we were married 69 years before she died. Yeah.
What day is your anniversary?
April 13th.
1940.
44.
When I started this video a few hours ago, I never asked you your name. Now, I know your name, but for the video, can you say what day you were born what year you were born, where you were born, and your name?
What year was I born?
Well, yeah, just tell me
Oh,
your.
1924, August 29, 1924. Where was I born? 7 Capon Street, Medford, Massachusetts.
And what's your name?
What's my name?
Yeah.
Robert Kendall Pacios.
Was your dad in World War I? What did your parents do for work?
What did my parents do for work? Well, back then, women didn't usually work. Okay, my father started out as he's worked himself up to being a store manager of a small chain of grocery stores in the Boston area that went kaplunk with the Depression. And the best job that he could find was as a digging ditches for the city of Medford. And then when the government started producing a lot of war things, he went to work for at the Navy Yard, Charlestown Navy Yard in Massachusetts.
Was he in World War I?
Yes, he was.
What did he do?
What did he do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know he was a private, and he worked on big guns, coast artillery. Now, coast artillery doesn't mean that he was on the coast. He wasn't. He was on big guns, 12-inch guns, and that were 14, 16-inch guns that were on railroad tracks.
In France?
In France, yeah.
Do you still have photos of him and anything from his life?
I have one photograph that long of his organization.
That's cool. Yeah. So you lived in the Boston area for most of your life. Did you know a guy named Nathan Goldberg?
Who?
Nathan Goldberg.
Not to my recollection.
The reason I ask is he was another 3rd Armored veteran from Boston, but he was Jewish, so you might not have known him, you know?
Well, you know how many? I would say 35,000 people during World War II served in the 3rd Armored. The full strength was about 15,000.
But with replacements and casualties and
Yeah.
yeah.
One more, let me tell you. The house I was wounded in. Remember I told you that the people who owned the house, we sent them downstairs? Okay. That 30-day excursion that Sylvia and I took, I found a house in Providence. In my broken French, I introduced myself and to the woman, and she said, "Oui. Attendez, wait." And she had wooden shoes on, and because she had been working in Colorado or something like that, and she kept running around looking for a husband. I forget now what her husband's name was. But we had a good long chat, and he dug out what he said was Napoleon brandy for thing. And then she said, she asked me, which one were you? I said, the one that had blood all running down my face and my arm. She we thought you died.
Where were you hit?
Huh?
Where did you get hit?
I had a piece go here through my tricep, go in, come out, and go into my side. But the medics at the aid station were just able to pick